Good morning and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Told you we'd be back. Anyway, I've been very excited to talk about this one because it's a perfume I've been excited about as soon as I saw it was going to be released. And it's this one. It's Tilia from Marc-Antoine Barrois. Big fan of the house, and Quentin Bish, the busiest perfumer on the planet at the moment, it would seem, is the nose behind it. Now, I have done a review of Encelade, or a video regarding Encelade, but I haven't spoken about Ganymede, apart from the fact I think I've mentioned it earlier on, quite a while ago, how much I didn't like it and it didn't work with me. Summer came one year, I tried it in the sun, absolutely loved it, and now it's my most worn from the house. So I was incredibly excited when I heard that Tilia was going to be released, and the only real difference in presentation is this has a red sprayer. That's it. The nozzle, the atomizer, whatever you want to call it, is red. Apart from that, the presentation is exactly the same. It fits in the style. Now, the only one I haven't got from the house is a B683, and particularly the extrait, which I think is a work of art. It's a perfume that I definitely want to add to my collection at some point, but I don't have it yet. Rich does have it, however, and he absolutely loves it, and I can see why. It's an amazing perfume. But today we're going to talk about Tilia. Now, I can say straight from the off, this isn't going to appeal to everybody, okay? It is a feminine leaning perfume, I would describe it as, but I think it's gorgeous. I think it's absolutely wonderful. I will go through the notes with this one, not that they're going to make a lot of sense because there's quite a few materials in here that I don't really know. In fact, let's get the notes out of the way now. So you have, and this is according to Fragrantica, you have Ambro Fix, you have Linden Blossom, you have Jasmine Sambac, you have Georgie Wood, you have Heliotrope, you have Broom, and you have Vetiver. So that's it. That's all the declared notes. But that doesn't really tell you much of the story. I also have to say before we start that it is incredibly similar to the other two in terms of performance. This is a beast. It's an absolute monstrous perfume. It has no quit in it. It lasts forever. It has a huge sillage and it projects like a mofo for the first couple of hours. But it is pretty special. It does actually share similarities with the other two. It's not quite as space age as Ganymede, but it is a bit odd, like Encelade. Now, I think it's a really good addition to the collection, but it's surprisingly it's just a surprising fragrance. So I'm going to spray it now, just so we can talk about the opening, which is incredibly strong. You don't need a lot of this at all. It really is. I mean, it's got, I love the atomizers in here. It's a real fine mist that comes out, but straight away it's quirky. It's a lot more floral than you'd expect. In fact, I tell you what it does remind me of, especially in the opening, is one of my favourite designer releases of late, which I bought, also by Quentin Bish, which is Gucci Guilty Elixir. They're in the same ballpark, especially in the opening. Whereas the Gucci tends to use lots more tonka and stuff like that in the dry down, this one doesn't. This is a very much a floral. So the Linden Blossom is quite sweet. It's often called lime in the UK, but it's not actually a lime tree. It doesn't produce lime. It just produces this blossom effectively. So it's not a lime. It's not a type of lime. It just gets called that here for some reason. And obviously jasmine is jasmine. The jasmine's not indolic, all right? So there's no animalics. There's no like slightly off kind of vibe to it. It's very bright. And the heliotrope, if it's in here, I don't really pick up on it too much at all. It's probably round the base, in the same way that the vetiver is here too, but it's not that obvious. Not like it is in Encelade, where the vetiver is really apparent. This one, it's not. It just kind of merges in with all the other materials effectively. I think there's a lot more going on here than the notes will tell you. So I'm going to try and give you an abridged version of what this feels like to wear, and it is an extremely good fragrance. It does have that very niche vibe to it, and it does smell a little like the Gucci, especially in the opening, but they're not the same. Okay, they're not. This isn't just a more expensive version of the Gucci by any means. These are expensive fragrances. I think in the UK now they're retailing at 180 for 100ml, which is quite a lot. but we're under the £200 barrier for 100ml, which in some respects isn't that bad at all. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but it isn't that bad compared to some of the prices other niche houses offer, especially when you factor in the performance, because a little of all of these goes an incredibly long way. You're not going to cane a 100ml bottle very quickly. You're not one that, it's not one you're going to be topping up all the time either. You spray it in the morning and it's good till you scrub it off effectively. But it's bright. Okay, it's clean. It has that sort of fresh laundry kind of feel to it. So it almost feels like a clean musk with a bit of sweetness hidden in there. There's no musks listed, but I'm sure there's musks in it. But the linden blossom gives it this sweetness, so it's almost like a honeyed floral, which is lovely. It works so well, and it fills a room. But it does lean a little feminine in the opening. So it's one that I think if you're kind of pretty cut and dried about how you like your fragrances, you only wear masculine perfumes, this sort of bollocks, then you won't like it. Pretty, straight away, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you don't mind florals, you're going to really find this intriguing. And if you're like me, you're a fan of florals, you're going to absolutely love it, especially when you've worn it a couple of times, because it's a perfume that you kind of grow into. It's relentless, it's very, very strong, and it's very airy, it's very diffusive in its nature. So it kind of follows you around. The sillage is excellent. It is, the original sillage of a faithful hound that follows you around all day. And it works well pretty much all year round. I've worn it on a warm day and it's exploded. It might be a little bit too much on a really hot day, but if you don't mind that, like I don't, then you will love it on a hot day. It's fantastic. But I think it'll be bright enough and cheery enough to kind of get you through a grueling, grim winter's day. It's just one of these fragrances that you're just going to fall in love with or detest. So, you're going to have to sample it first. But I think this is such a clever release. I don't know, I'm absolutely addicted to it. I've hidden it from my wife because she's going to love this. So she's not until I've, secured another bottle or something, because she will hammer this. My wife is very good with perfume in the fact that she'll wear a ton of it. She seems to be impervious to the strength of it as well. So she will put 100 sprays on of whatever she wants to wear, and she won't care. Her way of dealing with sort of nasal fatigue is just to spray more. So I don't want that happening with that, because it's a bit too strong for that sort of thing. I've still got nightmares about her overspraying Thomas Kosmala's number 4, which was quite a shocking experience. So it is worth the money. And I know it is a lot of money, but it is worth it, purely based on the unique factor that this has. The fact that it's a beautiful, sweet floral with a clean freshness to it, which I think is just so unique, and it's just such a lovely way to wear a perfume. There is a bit of a woody accord in here in the dry down, because the dry down isn't at all feminine. It's completely unisex. In fact, it probably leans a little more masculine in the dry down, but it takes hours to get there. So, if you're not happy with a feminine leaning opening, you're probably going to struggle with it. The more I wear it, though, I'll be honest, the less feminine it seems to me. It could just be that I've become more in tune with the perfume. I know what I'm expecting and I know how it's going to be. But it's just cracking stuff. It's beautifully made. I can't say how accurate the linden blossom smell is, because it's not a material that I've ever had isolated to smell it, and I can't say I've ever smelt the real linden blossom. I don't know. I don't know what broom is. So again, I'm not going to comment on that. And Ambrophix, I'm assuming, is one of the multitude of modern aroma chemicals that this perfume is packed with. All of sort of Quentin's fragrances tend to be very modern in the way that they're put together, which is one of the reasons I guess I'm so drawn to his work, because that's my favourite kind of perfumery. I think there is that sort of mineral kind of vibe in the dry down that you associate with Ganymede. They don't sort of smell alike side by side in the same way that it doesn't really. I mean, there's some similarities to Onslaught, but not a lot. If you smelt them if you smelt them side by side, you wouldn't find them alike at all. But there is that kind of space age DNA that runs through all three of these, and that's where I think you'll probably find familiarity, you know, a familiar kind of vibe for the three fragrances. But side by side, they don't smell alike. It doesn't smell like Boss Imperial either. So it's not another Quentin Bisch that smells like a Quentin Bisch fragrance. It is paradoxically, it is a Quentin Bisch perfume that does smell like a Quentin Bisch perfume, but not side by side with many of his other multitudes, apart from obviously the Gucci, which I adore, and that will probably be one of our next reviews. So what do I think about it? I think it's incredible. I think it's a really, really good perfume. I think the performance is out of this world. It's long lasting. It smells great. People tend to gravitate towards you when you're wearing it. So it's one that's going to make you sort of rather popular, perhaps. You know, it's a really, really good fragrance. It is expensive. I think it's worth it. I mean, I bought this with my own money, so it's not one that's been gifted to me or anything like that. It's just an absolute work of art. Yeah, as you can see, I'm a bit smitten by it. So I think it's not a blind buy. I don't think that's a good idea with anything over a certain budget. If this is a £30 perfume, then yeah, go for it. But it's not. It's an expensive one. So, you know, try and sample it before you commit to it. But I honestly think if you don't mind a kind of a clean floral, you're going to absolutely love it. And I'm really looking forward to having a really hot summer this year where I'm going to wear it an awful lot, and I can't say fairer than that. Excellent work from Quentin Bisch. I love what Marc-Antoine Barrois are doing as a house in terms of the perfume anyway. They're definitely trying to, you know, make a collection of perfumes that are instantly recognizable as theirs, and so far even with B683 they have achieved that hands down. So have you tried it? What do you think of Tilia? Let me know what you think. I think it's cracking, and I think you will too. So yeah, if you have tried it, comment down below and let us know your thoughts. But if you're one of these dickheads that wants to swear and shout and scream in the comments, don't bother. Really, I've got no interest in it and no time for it. And if you are one of these sweary Marys that pops up, you're not really impressing anyone, and you're certainly not catching my attention because I'll just delete the comment. But most of you are fabulous, and a lot of you really, really enjoy the videos. And if you're one of the good guys, then please let's have a chat about it and let me know your thoughts. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure, and we will see you on the next video. So cheers, thanks, and bye.